something. And humanoid looking, humanesque looking, but not like us.
You have to admit, that is rather strange. Why exactly would all these separate individuals make up the same story?
As unlikely as it might seem to some people, although to me the notion of bodies makes perfectly good sense. There's got to be a crew on the darn craft, you know, because why did it crash? Probably somebody made a mistake. That's crews, beings, thinking individuals.
So imagine you have actually seen an alien life form. Why wait for 30 years to talk about it? It seems like a pretty big story to just sit on. Unless, of course, you were threatened.
He said, you did not see anything, there was no crash here. And I said, hey, look, mister, I said, I'm a civilian and you can't do a damn thing to me. And he said, oh, yes, we can, mister. He said, somebody would be picking your bones out of the sand.
The military police came and told George and I that if we ever told anything about this incident, talked about it in any way, that not only we would be killed, but the family.
One of the few times I remember my dad being serious was when he came in and he informed my mother that, hey, this didn't happen. Didn't happen at all, so don't talk to your friends about this or anybody else as far as that goes.
There are problems with witness testimony. Maybe they want to believe so badly that they don't realize they're stretching the truth. For Roswell in particular, a huge problem is the 40 or 50 years that have elapsed. You don't even find it in UFO books from the 60s. And then all of a sudden, like a phoenix from the ashes, Roswell evolves into this huge expanding mythology. And one of the signs that it is just an expanding mythology is the divergence of stories. Instead of the stories converging on what really happened, stories are diverging. Instead of one crash site, we have 6 different crash sites. You take your pick. Which UFO author do you like? You pick his crash site.
And here's just one of those crash site theories. Don and Tom will now illustrate their findings using this giant chalkboard.
It is our contention that 20 miles southeast of Corona, there was an explosion raining debris down on this particular location. Along the trajectory line of the object, a number of bodies would descend at this site 2 to 2.5 miles to the southeast. That's site number 2. Along the same trajectory line, the remains of a capsule or even escape pod would then continue on 15 to 17 miles before impacting at this site 40 miles northwest of Roswell.
We have not yet found this site. We are still searching for this site.
As far as I'm concerned, there were 2 crashes. I think some of the people who wanted a share of the glory, if you will, of Roswell to shine down on them have stressed other locations, and those continue to be stressed even long after the data shows that those didn't exist.
So now the Roswell story has spawned its own entire industry. All this investigation has stirred up a dust storm of controversy, and the 1980s are spent arguing. Bodies, no bodies, discs, balloons, 2 crash sites, 3 crash sites. It's all very exhausting.
Anybody else want a book? I want to sign.
But then something really surprising happened. By the early 1990s, the governor of New Mexico is so overwhelmed with calls that he demands from the Air Force some sort of explanation for Roswell. And guess what? The government actually responded. Fact versus fiction in the New Mexico desert is not exactly light reading. After spending thousands of dollars and employing 30 governmental agencies over 2 years, the Air Force produced a 975-page report claiming that what really crashed at Roswell was a top-secret project called Mogul. What is Mogul? Well, it's a balloon.
To call them weather balloons is a terrible injustice. These were not simple weather balloons. They were 600-foot tall, gigantic physics experiments that had about 24 weather balloons for the lift. And they had parachutes and rings and ropes and strings, and one of the main features was the curious radar reflectors that were made of shiny metallic paper, didn't crumple very easily. They didn't switch the debris. What's in the pictures is what you get. That's the Roswell incident.
Could it really be that simple? Could the government just be telling the truth? Then why does it take another 300-page report from the US government to explain these symbols? Something crashed outside the town of Roswell, New Mexico. The US military says it was a weather balloon called Mogul and released the Roswell report. At 900 pages, it seems like an awful lot of effort to prove something so straightforward. Some would say it's rather fishy.
Project Mogul is a red herring, frankly. Everything about it is wrong. The characteristics of the material as described by the witnesses out in the field don't match. Mogul, you have foil kind of stuff that any 3-year-old can tear. Balsa wood sticks that any 4-year-old could break. And yet the witnesses say that the I-beam shaped pieces couldn't be broken, couldn't be burned. Not the same thing. Another thing about Mogul, supposedly super secret, extraordinarily secret. There was nothing secret in the technology of the balloon, the radiosonde, you know, all the junk that went with it. The only thing that was secret was the purpose.
On page 302, the Air Force also came up with an explanation for Jesse Marcel's mysterious symbols. They claimed it was Scotch tape with flowers on it, donated from a toy company.
The only witness that I could really vouch for is Charlie Moore, my physics professor, who launched the things. And he is, you know, a highly respected physicist. And he saw firsthand these radar reflectors with the funny alien-looking symbols. And he must have seen 100 of those and wondered, I wonder why these toy manufacturing people are putting these funny symbols on our radar reflectors. There goes another one.
I've seen some of the tape, and it's much wider, much bigger than these, and it does show flowers and not this kind of symbols. So I can compare with what they look like, but it was not what we saw, period.
So now that's all cleared up. Remember this?
The best of all would be a drop of alien blood. Alien blood.
How about not just alien blood, but an alien head? Alien legs. In fact, an entire alien. Careful what you ask for. You might just get it. The infamous alien autopsy footage.